What happens when being a troubled teen goes wrong? When we are born with an innocence and ignorance to the world. As we grow and get older, we navigate our way through life, learning ourselves and learning the world around us as well. In our teenage years, situations can seem a lot worse than they are. Things that won't be important later in life seem detrimental to us in the moment. And decisions made as a teenager can sometimes reflect that. Angry outbursts, breaking rules, and a little vandalism are used to classify troubled teens. But in reality, most teenagers experience these things. Some acting out due to divorce of parents, lack of guidance and supervision, whether it be from older siblings or other positive role models. Unfortunately, this would be the case for Tyler Anderson. On May 17th, 2012, Tyler Anderson was found in the driveway of a South Akron, Ohio home with a pewpew wound to the head, less than a mile away from his own home.
Akron police continue to investigate the shooting death of a 17-year-old juvenile. They're asking anyone with information to contact the Detective Bureau. The Summit County Medical Examiner's Office is expected to have an official autopsy result within the next few days. We'll have much more on this murder coming up on The Now.
So then I got home from work about 3:30, around there. And I was no sooner home than the police pull in. And he asked for Tyler. And I said, he's not here. And he said, has he been here? And I said, yeah, because he left a bag of Doritos open. That was his big thing, leaving chips open after he would eat them. So I knew he had been home. So he asked to see a picture of Tyler. And I said, what did he do? What did he, all I could think of was, oh my God, what kind of trouble is he in? And he said, I just need to see a picture of him. And I showed him the picture. And then he says, well, we're looking for him. So then I thought, oh, no, this is really bad. So then he said, there's going to be some officers here to talk to you. So he waited in the driveway. It seemed like forever. I'm just sitting here like, God, did he rob a bank? I mean, what did this kid do? I mean, cops are coming to talk to me. And then that's when the Detective Starbaji showed up and a few other detectives and told me that they found him. Worst moment of my life. It's an absolute nightmare. Of course, I wanted to go to him, and he said I couldn't. So I immediately called his brother, and his other brother was living in Hawaii. Called his brother, called my husband at the time, and, they came home, and that was the rest of the nightmare. That's when it all started. They wouldn't let me go to him. They didn't want me to see him.
Tyler was a 17-year-old youth who had a bit of a bumpy road laid out in front of him when it came to his teenage years. He was the third of three sons, born to Terry and Kenny Anderson. Tyler's brothers were older. By the time he was a teen, they had long since moved out, but all three shared a normal childhood with their parents.
He was fun, very loyal to his friends, very good to his friends. When he passed, we had hundreds of kids. It amazed me how many, he just had a ton of friends. And I don't know, he was sports-minded, just a good kid to be around. He was your typical teenager. He gave me problems here and there, but, nothing real serious. But I don't know, he was a pleasant kid, loved to go shopping, loved to spend money, loved to be out and about, very active.
Even without the constant presence of his older brothers, Tyler was a short but brave kid. He was a beloved kid in his area as well. Known for being out and about, as his mother would put it, and he really enjoyed BMXing. Word around town was that Tyler was very good at it, and this was his greatest passion. When his parents, Terry and Kenny, would divorce during his teenage years, it became something he relied on as an outlet.
Tyler was a short, skinny kid, and he never backed down from anything. Of course, I didn't know about this, but after he passed, his friends would tell me that, if somebody came up to him and wanted to pick a fight, he was like, all right. He never was afraid of anything, he was never fearful. And I think that's where the BMX biking came in, because, it's pretty dangerous. They're doing jumps and I mean, the stuff they do on it used to scare me to death. I had no fear of that. They'd fall down and just get up, dust off, and go on.
The divorce between Tyler's parents would come with some major ramifications for Tyler. Terry, Tyler's mother, would sadly spend more hours at work trying to provide for the teen rather than being at home where she could watch over him. Kenny, Tyler's father, had moved to Florida but maintained contact with his son. Tyler even spent summers at his father's house in Florida. The situation would obviously have an effect on Tyler, as it would any teenager, so much so that it would begin to become more evident at school. The traditional classroom is not meant for every child. Some excel in different learning environments, some require greater attention and patience, while in Tyler's case, he simply just had more energy than other children and found it difficult to stay focused. This, coupled with his issues at home, would cause Tyler to act out, leading to his expulsion from school. Tyler will be put into an alternative schooling program, one that consisted of online and in-person lessons that lasted about half as long as a regular school day. Tyler expressed that he didn't want to attend the program because it was on the west side of town, and they didn't like people that came from his side of town on the south. Terry agreed and even made attempts to get him into a different program, but to no avail. Unfortunately, Tyler's declaration would become foreshadowing of events to come because it is at this school where Tyler would come into contact with a teen that would become a person of interest in his pewpewing.
There's a thing with kids. They're very territorial. And Tyler had said to me, I can't go to school in West Akron. They don't like Southsiders, is the way he put it. And I said, I understand that. You know, it's like mixing these schools together. I don't think it's a good idea, actually. So I said, I had called the school, tried, can we just send him downtown where all the kids go? Why do we have to send him? Nope, he has to go to West Akron.
May 17th would begin like any other day for Terry and her son Tyler. She had made him blueberry pancakes and dropped him off at school. At some point during the school day, he and a classmate had a conversation about an item the classmate wanted to get rid of. Tyler expressed interest in the item, and they set a time to meet after school. The school day would come to an end. Tyler would take the city bus home, eat some snacks, chill for a minute, and then head out to hang with a friend before attending the meeting that he'd set earlier with the classmate. Surveillance footage collected by the police all the way up until Tyler appeared to be going to the meeting helps paint a picture of the events leading up to Tyler's final moments. Everything from that point on is partially caught on video, but is mostly speculation, and because of that, Tyler's pewpewers have not been brought to justice. The detective on the case, Detective Starvagi, speculates that Tyler was picked up by his classmate, a 16-year-old that remains unnamed to this day, and a 17-year-old passenger that was said to be from Youngstown, Ohio, and affiliated with a gang. The vehicle used to pick Tyler up was said to be a maroon Dodge Durango. After he had arrived to the location he and his classmate agreed to meet at. This is partially corroborated by video footage collected from businesses in the area. The Durango was caught on footage at 2:38 p.m. turning onto a street. A mere 3 minutes later, it was picked up on a video again, with the rear passenger window appearing to have been blown out. Sadly, the license plate was never recorded on any of the footage.
We believe he just turned around and shot Tyler. It goes through his neck, out the window, and shatters the window.
After circling the area for a bit, the two teens would stop the car on the same street they had been caught on the surveillance cameras earlier, got out, pulled Tyler from the car, and dragged his unalive body into someone's driveway, just as a female resident of the home was arriving. Her call to dispatch would come in at 3:03 p.m. Cell phone records belonging to the 16-year-old would show him texting and calling someone located in Youngstown, Ohio at 3:15 p.m. It was later discovered that the person he was calling was a female relative and the owner of the maroon Dodge Durango. Shortly after, the two teens would be picked up on a surveillance camera walking down the same street the 16-year-old lived on. They would be picked up again at a local Family Dollar, where they are seen purchasing lighter fluid, charcoal, and bleach. 3 hours later, the 16-year-old's phone would ping in Youngstown, Ohio, leading detectives to believe that that is where the two went after they purchased the lighter fluid, the bleach, and the charcoal.
So they must have gone down to 10th Street, parked the car, then they get on foot, they walk down to the store. We got them walking down to the store, we got them in the store buying the bleach, and then I think we got them walking back to 10th Street. So then after that, they must have cleaned up the car.
Or tried to.
At 9:23 p.m., the 16-year-old's phone service would abruptly end entirely. Roughly 6 hours after that, at 3:30 a.m., Youngstown Fire and Police would receive a call This call would lead them to a scene where the aforementioned maroon Dodge Durango would be ablaze. The detectives knew this was the same maroon Dodge Durango because after being examined, it was determined that the same window that appeared busted out in the videos was also busted out of the maroon Dodge Durango that had been set ablaze. In my opinion, the likelihood of those two things being unrelated are slim to none. The same morning, the owner of the vehicle that had been found ablaze would call into dispatch reporting that her car had been stolen. The police would question the teens and their families, and they would all vehemently insist that everything was routine. Unfortunately, the police did not have enough evidence to make any arrests. Each time the maroon Dodge Durango was caught on camera, the driver was not. A tip would come in from a man claiming he had been present when the two teens divulged the events that took place the day Tyler was pewpewed. After stating the teens' names, the man stated that the older teen pewpewed Tyler because he was acting squirrely. Unfortunately, the witness refused to tell that same story to a prosecutor. Hope remains in a piece of evidence found at the scene that had not been DNA tested in the past 12 years since Tyler's untimely unaliving. Tyler's family and the community of Akron mourned his loss and demonstrated against the pew-pew violence in the city of Akron. Tyler's mother, Terry, urges anyone with any information regarding her son's unaliving to please contact the Akron Police Department. Do you think someone acting squirrely is a reason to unalive them? Let me know in the comments. And also, do you think it's possible that the maroon Dodge Durangos weren't related and somehow there were two maroon Dodge Durangos out and about that day? Also, let me know in the comments. This has been Morbid Stories with Slayer, and I send my condolences to Tyler and Tyler's family and the community affected by his loss. And keep your head on a swivel so you don't get hit with that nickel.